This is not funny, by the way, so I'm not laughing. They were talking about being intimate and the last time they were intimate and how it made them feel and how he was with somebody for like a year and a half. They only were intimate 3 times. Why are you laughing? That's not funny. Why are you laughing?
No, it's
Why
messed
are you
up.
laughing? But you know how?
It's
But do you
messed up.
think? Do you think that mean that that?
I have so many thoughts. Like,
Hello, welcome back to our channel. I'm Intisar Eleanor. This is my beautiful husband Joseph.
Hey.
We had a week chock with a lot of energy, so the house, we even was killing plants in here, Chuck. So there's a lot going on. It's dead on the porch.
yeah, I tried to get it.
I know you tried to put it out there. When I saw it out there, I was like, "Oh, he tried."
Yeah,
it's all wilted and dead, child. Welcome back to our channel. We are talking all things Married at First Sight, season 16, episode 6. On a light note, this is one of the best episodes. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, they were trying to build up, I guess, with the, but they also cut this short. They cut this episode short again. So I really got to do. I haven't had time to do my researches, my Googles on this because I want to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it was short, which honestly, if I'm being honest, thank you, Married at First Sight, guys. It gave me some time back in my night.
I'm not complaining. I'm just
gonna
curious.
watch a whole nother show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we watched the after party and then watched a whole other show after that.
Yeah, we did.
So it was a good night to me. But, let's dig on in. They're on their honeymoon and everybody is getting... I'm trying to think, is it my brain? Now, I've watched it twice now. Or is it that these people are more complaining than usual?
What you mean by that?
Like, I feel like typically it's only like one couple that's kind of like weird. I feel like all of these couples are kind of like standoffish.
I honestly feel like, and I said this to Zar while we was watching, I honestly feel like this is the worst bunch of pairings that I've ever seen in the time that I've been watching Married at First Sight, and I've been watching for a couple years now. And I feel like this is easily the worst pairing of couples.
I think it's, and I think it's that, and I think the people that they picked aren't all of them. Some of them are, I can see that why they're picked, but most of them I'm just like,
yeah.
Like, I don't get this. So let's dig on into Mac and Dom. The thing about Dom is that she's frustrating to me. However, I went back and rewatched this episode and she was really like annoyed. Like, oh, he plays too much. He's always joking and it's annoying or always complaining. And it really made me think, I think she's using the wrong words.
What you think she's trying to say?
Like, when I watched it back, I didn't find him annoying. I felt like he was a liar.
Why?
And that would annoy me. Yes. So he said she's in the room with him. They're in the bed. And she says, I want to go horseback riding. And he's like, I used to horseback ride. And she's like, really? Stop lying. And he's like, yeah, I can do all the things on the horse. And then when they get in front of the horse, he's like, I don't know how to ride a horse. That will bother me.
But I think that's where... I thought he was trying to be like funny. He
was, but he never said, no, I'm joking. I really don't know how to ride a horse. So if in the moment he says that, then I feel like it's not that deep and she's being... I feel like
it's not that deep and Dom is making up shit, to be honest.
And so does her mother in all reality.
And so does apparently everybody else in the cast.
And everybody else in the cast.
We watched the after party and Dom was on the after party and she was talking about why she was explaining her whole complaining theory, and Keisha was very like kindly asking the other two guys, hey, what do you think about this? And they're like, I don't know what she's talking about.
Right. And I think that...
And then Keisha said, do you think that it's just that you're not
attracted to him.
That you're just not attracted to him.
Yeah.
Which is what I think, because we talked about that a while ago too. Like, I do think that Keisha. I do think that Dom is simply not attracted to Mac. And I think that a lot of times people find fault where there is none.
Yeah.
When the attraction lacks and people, I just think there's a lot that goes into that. And I think that that's what's happening here. Like, she's just, a dude can sneeze the wrong way and you'd be like, ugh. But if he cute, you'd be like, you need a tissue? You know what I mean? I just see that all the time.
I just don't think she's ready.
No. Two things could be true.
Right,
she's not ready.
No, right.
I don't think she's. I don't think she should have been
she's
picked.
ready. And it's funny because when they were in the group, so the whole group gets together and they have like their, group meet or whatever the case may be, which got real awkward real fast.
It sure did.
And it was very apparent to me that he is self-aware. So it's not like he was like, yeah, sometimes she doesn't understand that I'm joking. And I recognize that maybe I need to be a little bit more serious or whatever the case may be. And she said something I didn't like. It wasn't what she said. It was how she said it. She said, yeah, sometimes I don't know if he's joking or if he's talking out his ass. And I'm like.
She does not like him, y'all.
Why would you? I don't know. It's not that I'm not saying you don't. And this is coming from a space where I've been in certain spaces and said things and thought back about it in mixed company that maybe that wasn't the right way to say it. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So that's why it kind of made me cringe. Like, girl, just say like I'm getting to know him, talking out his ass.
It's cringy to me because he's not doing anything that is visibly distasteful, and apparently nobody else can see it either. And she's constantly finding fault in him.
Agreed.
And I think it's because one, she's immature. And she shouldn't be. Wildly. She shouldn't have been picked on here. And I think two, it's because she's not attracted to him. And a lot of times on this show, it's a theme. People, instead of copping to the fact that they just aren't attracted to this person, they go around Robin Hood's barn to figure out a way to disqualify this person as their spouse.
But I want to know I really do want to know what she would be attracted to, because
who knows? I have no.
Not to say that I don't see how she couldn't be attracted to him. Like, everybody has like their preferences or whatever. But okay, I have thoughts, but I'm really working on being nice. So I'm working on it. I really, really am, because I have thoughts, but I'm just like, okay. So.
But you don't have to be conservative about your thoughts here.
I know, but I also am like, really, it's not that I think he is a catch, because I think he's a mediocre palm-colored person and was able to live and thrive off his mediocrity, and that might be a turn off for her, and I understand that. But that's it. I mean, when I look at her and I look at him, I think that they are in two different leagues. I don't. With all due respect,
I don't see the pairing at all, and it's in line with what I think about this being like one of the worst bunch of couples. There are another couple that I just don't see it. Like, even if at best, I would give them maybe friends that speak every once in a while. Like, I just could never see them going the distance or actually having any chemistry. At all. I feel nothing when I see them interact with each other. I don't think
they don't feel anything.
I don't think
we don't need to feel nothing.
Yeah,
they don't feel nothing.
I don't think they feel anything either. I just think it's a poorly put together couple.
And I think another thing I didn't like that she said when he was actually trying to apologize to her, like, look,
yeah.
But two things. She gets an attitude with him because they do the horseback riding thing. I want to be fully transparent, and I know we kind of give little nuggets about ourselves and how we interact. I'm complaining too. Like, Joe will say we're doing something. We're supposed to be doing something next week. And what did I say? We're walking through the mall, and I was like, I don't want to go. Yeah. And he was like, why don't you want to go? And I'm like, I don't like stuff like that. Mind you, never been. And then I said, well, I've never been to anything like that. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It gives me anxiety sometimes to try new things. So I can kind of relate to him, feeling like if it wasn't an idea of mine, I don't need to do it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Yeah. Not to say that it won't be a good experience, and I think that's what he's getting at. Like, it might be a good experience, and I'm doing these things because I like you, but not necessarily because I want to go out there and jump off a cliff and
did it, though.
So if he complained about it for a little while, who cares?
Yeah, he did it.
And I think that's what her mom was trying to get at. Like, okay, well, maybe you just have to pull him out. Well, he just want to sit on the beach. She said, well, you just like to sit on the beach too.
Yeah, and then she made a weird statement about, well, I would sit on the beach if it was Florida, but not Jamaica. Why?
But that's how I know you never been nowhere. Right. Like, I'm like, girl, it's just a beach. But I mean, part of me gets it, but part of me is like, oh,
this
child.
is all immaturity to me, though. I just see so much of their conflict to me is rooted in her immaturity.
I do kind of think he is too familiar. I think the issue is that he's too familiar. Like, sometimes you do got to get to a place of familiarity with somebody to joke.
I just don't know that. Again, we talked about this when we was watching the show. When you just meeting somebody and you're in this space of a honeymoon, right? All you have is jokes, and we talk about how we joke all the time, 24/7. And
we literally joke all of the time,
and we know each other.
Absolutely nothing serious.
You know what I mean?
Right. That's
true. And we know
true.
each other well. So imagine we didn't know. Like, what else we gonna do?
But joke around. But you know
what I mean? I think she's just, a lot of it is her wanting to be with someone who is exactly like her, which is also a sign of immaturity.
Yes.
And I think a lot of it is rooted in her not knowing how to handle a person of a different intellect, a person of different interests,
yes.
which is also immaturity.
Right.
And I just think she doesn't like him. She's not attracted to him. I don't think she likes his personality. And I think that some part of that is for the experts to hold that L, because there's no way I would have paired them. Even if I liked them both as individuals, there's no way I would have paired them together.
Even based on the way the man dressed.
Yeah, there's no way.
Like, he has style. She does not.
Yeah, there's no way.
You know what I mean? Like, even those small little things, like, it just doesn't align. And that really is like, But I think the overarching theme of this particular episode is that everybody needs to just chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Because, everybody is trying to rush to this serious feeling, and he just played too much. What I really want to know, and this is really a question for y'all, maybe y'all can explain this to us, because we were watching it, like, if you're dating, and I haven't dated, and we haven't dated, I would say it's been
long
years.
Time, yeah.
You know, since I've dated somebody new.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know what the landscape is like now.
Right.
But I always used to go out. You know, you go out, you have a good time, you laugh, you joke.
Yeah.
Every date wasn't like, are we getting married? When are we getting married?
But
why aren't you talking about?
You know what I think, and I think that's the tough part about dating at a larger age. Mm-hmm. I think the one thing that I would say, in my opinion, the most commonly made mistake I see made by people who are dating at a larger age is that they feel the weight of time on their shoulders, and they let that sink out into their relationships, even if they are just meeting this person for the first hour.
Yeah.
And that's how you scare people away.
Right, because you just gotta and I want to be clear. I hate when people say, well, I just want it to be organic. Like, because I'm like, you treat organic tomatoes and organic spinach two different ways. So you also have to be intentional, right? But I do think
intentional does not mean forced.
Intentional does not mean forced, and that's what I mean. You could organically intentional, but you don't have to, if you're having serious conversation and the other person is welcoming that, great. Like we see with Christopher and Nicole, they naturally have just serious conversation, but I think that kind of conversation makes them both feel comfortable because they've been in places, very insecure relationships, where they were made to feel like they weren't good enough. So they need the constant affirmation from one another, and that's why they have that affirming conversation. Mm-hmm. So that's why we can see how they are blossoming. Yeah. Whereas everybody else, a part of your spouse's personality is that they're personable.
Right.
They like to joke, they like to laugh and play. Why is that a problem? And adulting is so hard.
Not only that, but y'all not in an environment of adulting. You're in Jamaica.
How about
the fuck we supposed to be talking about? I don't understand why we
gotta stop saying the F word.
This theme of he's just not being serious enough.
I don't get that.
Kirsten said the same thing about Shaquille, and it's like, we in Jamaica, we on the beach, we just met each other.
We just met
so what if we're not being lighthearted? First of all, that's a big window into somebody getting to know somebody. Mm-hmm. Comedy, right? just being lighthearted, talking, and you really catch more bees with honey in a roundabout way of conversation than you do going for the jugular. And almost, and I think in almost multiple areas of life. I remember being with a mentor of mine in a business space. And one of the things he told me, I was about to start traveling with him and doing some stuff with him, going to meetings and stuff like that. And one of the things he told me was always try to find commonality.
Yeah.
You can fully walk into these conversations in these rooms with an agenda at the front of your mind, but you should never lead with that.
Right.
Oh, my name's Zar Conner and I play drums. Could you have a gig for me?
Right.
Never lead with that because they don't want that guy in the room.
Right.
So you walk in, you see he has an eagle on his shirt. You say, "Are you an Eagles fan?" I am too. I'm from Philly.
Right.
We're not. That's how you build relationship. That is networking, but that's how you get to know somebody, through these commonalities, through this light conversation. You don't walk up and say, "Hi, I'm 30 something years old. I'm looking to get married. Are you looking to get married? Possibly next year, possibly in 6 months."
You're already married.
Slow down.
And
yeah.
you're already married.
You already have a committed spouse.
You already have a committed spouse. So it's like at this point where you already have the committed spouse, I would just be trying to like figure out their mannerisms.
Yes.
I don't need to know the whole story, all the things. Right now we are in paradise.
Right.
I would be trying to just be like, all right, let's just vibe.
Yeah, what you drinking?
We're going to be lit the whole time. You like
dark tequila or light tequila?
It's no way.
Like, why are we talking about this?
I would have been drunk, slurring on camera.
You joking too much, and you being too. I just don't. It's just weird because there was a lot of conversation on a beach with water and some guy doing these dances in the background, and you talking about, well, I think you're not serious enough.
Like what?
That's weird. That's weird to me. But again, I think a lot of this is rooted in them not really liking each other, not liking each other physically or personally. Like, I think a lot of this, you find these, we talked about pretty privilege last week. Pretty privilege is the thing we give. As a former educator, I will freely admit I gave pretty privilege to kids, not intentionally, but I know that if a kid was testing me and I thought they was adorable, I had a lot more room. But if they wasn't, I'm like, you gotta go. You just gotta get about the class. Like, you can't be here. Your leash is much shorter. Yeah. And I see that here where it's just like, okay, so
like you can't be funny looking and acting like that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are giving that energy this time around. And I also think, like, what do you think about, I think the need for serious conversation is rooted in the fact that these people haven't had serious relationships. Because I think if you've had a serious relationship, you're not constantly having serious conversation.
No, you're not.
And you also know what it feels like when somebody is committed. So it's kind of like, okay, if you're committed, like Joe and I are committed. So Joe and I don't we probably have a serious conversation once a quarter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This was a serious conversation week.
Right.
So it's like, but we don't do it. We literally have it once a quarter where we're like, all right, this was this or this was bothering me or whatever the case may be, and we'll lock in and be really intentional about paying attention. But past that, we are just like joking.
Yeah.
It's funny. It wasn't even a disagreement. Maybe it was a disagreement. We were having really light one, but Joe said something to me that he wanted me to stop saying. I won't tell y'all what it is, but I'll tell y'all how. He told me he wanted me to stop saying something because he was like, he said, like, if we have kids around here and you saying that, it could be, they can internalize that, whatever. So I'm like, yeah. But in my mind, I'm laughing because in his face, I'm like, you're right. But I'm like, I still can't stop saying it. Like, my body won't allow it. It's like, but even that, like, you know what I mean? Like, not trying to disrespect my spouse's boundaries, but more like we make our life easy. Like, this is one space in our life that him and I can control, our bubble, right? So it's like, if we keep the energy positive, then it'll make the relationship is easy. Everything else outside of that can be hard. Right. But this will be smooth. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think I think it's really clear that they are just looking for love. Child, cause these people got me mad, confused. The child, what's her name? The girl gonna say, I want somebody, Dominique gonna say, I want somebody who adventurous. This man literally married a woman at first sight.
I mean, and signed up to do it on a television show.
He quite literally, but you don't even know him enough, because if you knew him really deep, like even his story getting to Nashville, after he was only in Nashville for what, 4 weeks before he decided to get married at first sight. That to me is like way too adventurous.
Yes. Yeah. Even that is something that I would have shied away from if I'm in casting and production.
Right. He's not even stable.
You don't even have an address here. I would
what
not
are like pairing people with homeless people?
I thought this was just a bad. I don't really, to be honest, I don't love none of these pairings. Like not one of them.
Well, I like Chris and Nicole.
I
think they're going to be good for each other. I think that she needs affirmation. He needs affirmation. And I like when two people who are relatively insecure get together because I think. I don't mean that in a bad. I don't mean that. It sounds bad. It sounds bad. But terrible. You know what I mean? Like, y'all don't be out. Oh my God. No, I can't. What? Because it's going to any way I try to describe
this. No, just say it. Say it.
You ever see a really short man with like a woman, like a good looking woman? I'd be like, yeah, brother. I'd be proud because I know how hard it is for men or a tall woman. Like if I see a tall woman and she could be a bad, like I know how sometimes it could be hard for these certain people or dark skinned women, super dark. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I know when it's an underserved population and then they're happily with someone, how good it makes me feel. And I feel that way about Christopher and Nicole.
I understand that aspect. I don't feel much when they feel like
they don't give much.
They feel that part, but I feel like they feel like two people who came in this process and are committed to this process.
But that to me is enough. It's only episode 6. That to me is enough right now.
But you know why it's not enough for me? Because I think nobody else is giving anything. I have no feels. You understand what I mean?
Well,
it feels it feels like, to your point, if I had to bet on somebody who I think would be okay eventually, would I bet on them? Yes. But to me, it feels, this is a show about arranged marriages that we aren't used to seeing couples operate like they're in an arranged marriage. And that's kind of how they're operating. Like, it's fine. The odds are probably in their favor to make it, but I'm bored with it because that's typically not what we get. You know what I mean? It's not. We don't get this like arranged marriage. Like they're good,
right?
You know what I mean?
That's true. I'm just not. I don't know. I like Christopher and Nicole. I think that they'll be great. I think they'll stay together. I've seen a couple just like this before, and I think they'll be happy. I be looking on TikTok. It's a bunch of people like them on there.
I believe it. I believe it. I just don't. There's just nothing there for me, and I think that goes back to me feeling like I wouldn't have paired them together. Like they might be fine, but I wouldn't have paired them together because to me, Married at First Sight is the goal for me. If I'm in production, the goal is to produce these amazing couples. I want to produce. My goal is to produce 4 Woody and Amanis. You know what I mean? And then so when I get one that's like, I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that. I do agree with that. So granted, talking about Christopher and Nicole, I think that they are making really big strides. It's funny because like I said, I feel like they talk about serious things naturally. Even intimacy.
They do. It doesn't feel forced like everybody else. It does
not feel forced. It feels like they're really getting to know each other. Yeah. And they were talking about, this is not funny, by the way, so I'm not laughing. They were talking about being intimate and the last time they were intimate and how it made them feel and how he was with somebody for like a year and a half. They only were intimate 3 times. Why are you laughing? That's not funny. Why are you laughing?
I'm trying not to laugh.
But how that made him feel?
That's fucked up. I mean, I'm not trying to laugh. No, it's
why
messed
are you
up.
laughing? But you know how?
It's
but do you think that mean that
I have so many thoughts.
Oh, Chris.
Yeah, I have so many thoughts.
Baby.
I have a lot of thoughts.
Do you think that mean it's not?
Yeah. She's nice, and I feel like part of her commitment to this process, and that's the difference too. I think she likes him as a person.
Yes. It's hard not to.
And I think part of her commitment to this process is understanding that you're getting a whole person, and it's not just about how how y'all sexing or how he looks or how much money he make or da-da-da. I think I think if you pair her with anybody, she would see the person as a whole person and be like, okay, I'm going to take this person for what they are. And I'm going to see through whatever parts that don't tickle my fancy. Yeah. And I think that's when I say maturity, that's what I mean between the difference between Dom and between Nicole.
That's very true. That's very true. And she displays a little bit maturity, I feel like, when we're talking about the Clinton Gina situation, and we'll get there. Yeah. But I think she does the same thing there as well. But let's talk about Eris and Jasmine. Or should we talk about Shaquille? Not that Shaquille and Kristen even gave anything this time around. They was dancing with the Jamaicans, shit.
But that's the one time it felt like they had a good time. They was vibing with each other then. And that.
But why did I get secondhand embarrassment?
Well, because anytime anybody does any type of
anything,
any type of artistic activity, you could get secondhand embarrassment. But I do feel like that was one moment where it felt like they had chemistry. It felt like they enjoyed. They have these little times, these spurts, right, that they go through. Where like most of the time they walk around, they talking to each other. I don't really feel much from them. And then they'll have these times where they're dancing together, they're doing something, and they genuinely look like they enjoying each other, and it's going both ways. But it's just real roller coaster. Yeah, they real hot and cold, and I also just feel like y'all are friends at best. At best.
Yeah, I'm not too keen because they also give absolutely nothing. The truth of the matter is, although Kirsten is the beauty, Shaquille is the star.
Yeah.
I actually be looking forward to and I can't stand when men speak, but I do be looking forward to what he be having to say.
And I think Shaquille has a short leash because, again, just kind of like Dom and Matt, I don't think she's attracted to him. So I think he has a short leash and you joking too much. Oh, you doing, it's like he's walking on coals. Cause even he said he was like, I don't know how to you could tell that he don't know what to do with his hands because he doesn't have a leash. And part of being able to have these successful conversations and these interactions is comfortability. Yeah. And if you take somebody completely out of their comfort zone, it takes them out of character.
Oh, I agree.
So they're immediately knocked off their square because they don't know what to do with their hands.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out how to get into this group thing before I talk about Eris and Jasmine. But should we talk about the group thing or
let's do Eris and Jasmine and then
Okay, so our video got cut off last week and we were talking about like attraction, and Joe was making a point that like, which we're seeing come to fruition, that it's going to come to a head. Yeah, like he ain't going to be able to keep pretending like he's not attracted to her. Yeah. I feel like, and I was saying that I think that, and like attraction amongst other things is really important. And what I was trying to get at was like, I think the older you get, he's 39 years old. I think the older you get, I feel like alignment is more like, you got to know that like, okay, if this person wants to be committed, we're aligned there. You know what I mean? If this person is in a place financially where they can take care of themselves and we can come in and add something really, contribute to a household. Okay, that's number 2. Like, I don't feel like I'm with somebody that's stingy or whatever the case may be. And then, like, you have whatever your other things are, right? They're religious or they're this or they're that. And you feel aligned in that manner. And I said, like, I feel like, and this is where I think we were kind of disagreeing was, I feel like, I just feel like the older I've gotten, the less attraction has meant much. And I'm speaking from a space of
but
privilege.
I agree with that. Oh, yeah, we don't disagree with that.
Yeah, because
I remember I said a while ago, we talked about it on the video too. What? I say when I was younger, which is a maturity thing that affects your picker. When your picker matures, you start to put weight on these boxes that you want to check. The weight is distributed differently, right? When you're younger, especially as a man, the weight it's like heavily on looks. The weight is heavily on looks. Then you get older and you get tired of not being able to have a conversation with this woman. And then you're like, okay, so I'm not the weight isn't heavily on looks anymore because I'm older, I'm more mature. I want to partner. We had a conversation with a friend of ours and it was so sad. Not really sad, but it was kind of sad because he's a little bit of an older age. And he was saying, I don't feel like I've ever had a partner. Which when he was younger, he probably didn't give a damn about having a partner.
Exactly.
He was just like, is she bad?
Exactly.
And what's
and he be dating bad bitches.
Right. But now, but at this place in life, you can tell that he distributes the weight of these of what matters differently. And so you could tell that now at this point in life, he wants a more well-rounded partner.
Right. And that's really what I was getting at, Joe. Like, I was getting at, like, y'all really be worried about the wrong thing. Social media be having y'all all messed up. Like, when I be talking to people and the first thing they start with, if I ask them, like, well, what do you want in somebody? And the first thing you start with is...
They don't be talking about nothing.
If the first thing you start with is how the person look, I already know you're not ready.
Yeah.
You're not ready. Like, you know what I mean? And it's not even like in a bad way. It's just like we all have our preferences. But if you're not in the place now where you know when somebody just speak to your spirit, you know what I mean? Like it's less, you're going to, when I be telling people like you can learn to love anybody, that's a real thing. When you're around good people and you're consumed with people who you just vibe with and they treat you good and you're in a good space, you really can learn to love the feeling, love the person who provides you with that. And I just be thinking like sometimes all this like, and especially with men, they ask Aries what if she not good looking, what's good looking. He gonna say, this blew my mind, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. At 40 years old, this grown ass man said, I'm just used to somebody with, didn't he say like a big?
Yeah. He said, my type is just like a big booty type.
Like Serena, like.
Yeah. Which I hope Serena is not your measuring stick. Cause she has a caboose.
Oh yeah, she does.
You know,
like what kind of ass you
That's
want?
like me saying, that's like a woman saying, I like the Obama type. Like, it's only one of them. Like, what you mean? Like, it ain't a bunch of Obamas running around here.
It is not. Okay. But you're absolutely correct. Like, it's like, and granted, he's in the South, so I'm sure he can find, but I know he had to feel away when Kirsten walked in with all that booty.
But y'all, this is what we be talking about when we think stuff get weird when the season's over and people be in other people's DM.
Yep. You know they do.
You know they be thinking, especially when they do these, because they do a lot more group interaction, I think, in these later seasons of the show than they did in years past.
I kind of think they do.
And I think that is dicey. Especially because if I walk into a room with a bunch of beautiful women and I can acknowledge that they're beautiful, it never makes me feel a type of way because I feel like my wife is beautiful and I have such a connection with her that it matters not if it's a bunch of bad women in the room, right? But if I don't know her, I just met her an hour ago, and I'm walking into a room, I'm like, my mind is different. I'm like, damn, why they ain't put me with Joan in the court? Like, you know what I mean? It's a real thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's dicey too, because you don't, at this point of their interaction, I have no loyalty to this person. I could barely spell their middle name. So I walk into a room with him and I'm just like, oh, this is my wife. And then he see the Joan and he like, oh, why did they do this to me? We see it on Love is Blind a lot.
Oh yeah,
and I think they do it on purpose. Like at the group interactions, they do it on purpose because they know it's more drama.
That's true. They do it on purpose for sure. But you're absolutely correct though. Like, so it was really fascinating because the whole dynamic between Aris and Jasmine was really weird because in the previous episode, he asked her like, "What's your favorite position?" Which I thought was completely out of line, by the way.
But then go ahead. I finish.
No, go ahead.
Because you going to where I'm going.
I am going there. Then he doesn't ask her that, and she's like, I just don't feel like there's any, sexual chemistry, and like he doesn't. I don't get the feeling he want to rip my clothes off or something. I'm like,
what is it that you want?
Did you want him to rip your clothes off?
What is it that you want? His foot was on the gas. You told him to brake. He broke, and you immediately was offended by it. They at the massage spot, and he says, well, you know what? I think that this is a, comfortable speed for you. And so this can be a comfortable speed for me too. She in the confessional, like rolling her eyes and shit.
I did not understand.
What is it that you want?
I did not understand.
What is it that you want? And I think a lot of times, if we really had time to sit down with some people with inquiring minds about relationships, the bulk of the questioning would be, what is it that because a lot of y'all just be so back and forth.
It's just the weirdest thing.
Like, figure it out.
They'll be like, it is so weird because people contradict themselves
all the time.
Terribly. And I just be like, no, but what do you actually want?
Yeah,
like,
what do you want? What
are you even looking for? Like, what are you saying? And I
like
feel,
you want him to be a freak, but then you don't want him to be a freak. But then you
I can't understand what we're talking about. And I feel like that is my biggest issue with her. Because he did kind of pump the brakes. But let me tell y'all something, y'all. Never in my life have I ever offered a man a massage, except for my husband. But that's only after, like, Joe be like, yeah, you can massage me, but I want you to sit on top of me and massage my chest because he's nasty. Okay?
Yeah.
He don't want you to be on his back, rubbing his. He don't want all that. Okay. No, I said, you gonna walk up to a man and you gonna be the one massaging him. This don't look right to me.
But a
man gonna be like, you got kinks in your booty.
But now it felt like she's trying to initiate some type of more physicality when you told him to pump the brake.
That's exactly what's happening.
So it's like, this is confusing.
That's exactly what's happening. Like, just so you know. So it's really, I'm super confused. She had the conversation about like wanting to be, you know, after they had the conversation with the girl, she talked about like wanting to be like in love and what that looks like and being nervous that he's 39 years old and hasn't been in love.
But then she said in the same conversation, well, you know, if you've gone this long and haven't been in love, how do I know you're going to fall in love with me? If he has loved every woman he ever been with, you still don't know that he's going to fall in love with you.
And I think
this goes back to the point of y'all are worried about the wrong stuff.
Y'all are worried about
y'all talking about people's past way too much. He's there with you in Jamaica and you're married now today.
Hello.
It matters not. The way this girl has been perseverating on this, him being in love with another woman.
Right.
Girl, what do you want? I don't understand it. Like, focus on falling in love with each other.
Just focus on having a good time. It's very clear that he doesn't want to like have. He wants to take it at a certain pace, right? Sometimes you gotta meet people where they at. You're already married, so that part is done. So now you don't have to rush nothing.
Right.
You don't have to rush nothing. You're already there. So it's like you're already at the finish line. You're literally reverse engineering this. So now it's just time to date.
Yeah.
And have a good time. And maybe you have some serious conversation. And maybe you talk about some things like your siblings and your mommy and whatever. And then maybe you talk about what color you like.
Yeah.
And it's just that easy. But I want to dig into Clint and Gina in this whole debacle. Because they've been stressing me the hell out. So I've really watched this again. Okay. To see whose side I was on. Okay. The previous episode, I guess kind of ends or has a portion where Gina tells Clint that she doesn't like gingers. And she says, I don't like gingers. And I told them I didn't like gingers. And, you know, they gave me a ginger. And, you know, you're attractive. But she literally said, you're attractive. But that's what you are. Like, you're a ginger. And not for nothing, I don't really cape for men, but I felt cringy.
It felt super cringy.
I felt cringy about it, okay? So, and I felt like if you replace that with Jewish, Asian, Black, everybody would understand what he's saying. If you just replace ginger with any one of those words, red bone, any one of those words, we would all understand exactly what he was saying and how he could be kind of on a little bit of pins and needles about what was said to him first. Does that make sense?
1,000%. But I want to go back to the initial conversation where she broached this subject in the middle of them having a good time.
Yes.
Being with each other, vibing out.
Yes.
And I think that this is what I mean when I talk about people not keeping the same energy. Because I feel like she didn't keep the same energy when it happened in the group message. But I think that also nobody else kept the same energy with her. Can we imagine? Go back to the initial conversation when she said what she said. Can imagine how quick she would have been canceled in the social media sphere. If a man stood in front of a woman and said, I really asked for, like, you know, a long hair woman. And it's not that it's your fault that you don't have long hair, but you don't. And you're here. I mean, imagine how they would have like, she really said it. And because she said it
in the way she said it,
It was just like, and then for her to get into the group setting, double down on it voluntarily.
And that's the piece we didn't see. So we see the group conversation, and we kind of see him just like regurgitate information that we didn't need, right?
Right.
But when we watched the after show, they said, well, who brought it up first?
Everybody said she did.
But Keisha was still trying to play like, oh, he did
Which
it.
was whack.
And he was like lying about it. And then they were like, no, she did kind of bring it up first.
That was whack. That was whack on Keisha's part.
It made me really see her completely differently,
Yeah.
because not because we need to be caping for men, but it's more along the lines of empathy is due a dog. I can understand how somebody could feel that way, because I've had somebody say something very similar to me, and it felt weird for me. Then it felt weird. So we're in the room and they're in the group. Now, mind you, Clint talks a lot. He says a lot of things he doesn't need to say. Okay. Right. He said the whole thing like, did you blow Jasmine's back out?
That was too much.
To me, I had a very big issue with that. Because it shows that he has a lack of self-awareness, period.
Right.
Okay. So I don't want to give him too much grace, because, he's a man. Right. And they show up. They show up just like that. Yep. Right. But how did you feel when he said, like, what if somebody said that, like, to you?
First of all, don't mention nothing that I'm doing sexually with my wife, especially in mixed company. I would be offended if you said it to me and it was just the three of us sitting here. But the fact that you said it in mixed company was also, especially because that was something that they talked about amongst each other. Mm-hmm. So we just homies and we chilling and we saying,
and that's a problem too.
That's a problem too. Like, watch your mouth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I thought that's the part of Clint that is hard to warm up to. Like,
yes.
he is kind of aloof in how he moves, but again, that's just.
But that's being a man
in this world.
They can be that way.
Yes.
They can be that way, and he does show up like that. So I don't want to give him too much, but at the same time, she's a woman,
yes. and she
and high key they made for each other,
because she went full blown Karen.
I mean,
she went full blown Karen, started this thing twice, and then proceeded to lay out on the ground and have a temper tantrum about this thing. She walked off, and I can't believe you would say that to me, and da 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 da.
I couldn't understand the difference between her saying she don't like ginger, she don't like ginger, she don't like gingers, and him saying, well, I'm used to dating women who are slender and athletic.
There literally is no difference. There was no difference. There was zero difference in that.
There was zero
except for the fact that her entitlement. You feel you're entitled to say anything you want out your mouth.
And that's what it is.
And then he waited 2 passes.
Yep.
He waited two passes before he said anything.
When they opened up the conversation, he's like, well, we're just figuring each other out. He opens up the conversation. He didn't expect to get any too detailed in it. He's just like, we figuring each other out and whatever the case may be. And I guess the producers was like, that's not enough. More. It's not enough. More.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that's when they started like really having real conversation. And then Kirsten brings up the fact that she was a little taken aback by the fact that her husband is bald-headed, which I don't get that either, y'all. But
you don't like him.
Whatever.
But this is what I mean.
Whatever.
I think they look for little excuses.
Very little.
They try to find. They try to find whatever they can to cloak their treatment of the other person, their dislike of something that they're doing. They try to cover it because they don't want to come off as shallow, even though the things that they are really saying is shallow. Like, I don't really mess with you because you got a bald head. Like, okay.
Or because I couldn't even believe how many times she said ginger. I could not even believe it.
And then tried to tell him that he doesn't have a right to be offended by her calling him a ginger. And he's telling her, like, I find it offensive. And she's like, I do hair, so no, you don't.
Wait a minute.
What?
Wait a minute. Let's step back, though. So he says the thing, and all the women, because I want to talk about this piece. All the women are offended that he says, he likes women who are slender and, what did he say, athletic. And I'm trying to understand why the women who are married to other men are offended.
Yeah, because this is not your man. Dominique.
I don't have a dog in this fight.
Dominique, this is not your man.
I'll be like, girl, that is messed up.
That was whack. For you to sit up there in the after party and act like he highly offended you because he's not attracted to your type.
But Dominique didn't act like that. Dominique was like,
she said it. She said I was offended, and
in the moment she did say that.
Yeah.
But I think she said without the like she didn't have the full context. Because she was really trying to double back. Like, okay, wait a minute. Looking at it now, I was offended in the moment, but I think we were only offended because it was like shocking because we don't know all the other context of their story and conversation.
But Dominique, this is not your man.
But it's also not your man.
I don't care. Like if somebody sit up in our mixed company and she a girlfriend of my wife's and she say, I like the opposite of tall, dark, and handsome. I like them short and stubby.
Who is tall, dark, and handsome, Jeff?
What do you mean?
Are you calling yourself tall, dark, and handsome?
First of all, I absolutely am tall, dark, and handsome. If somebody sat up and said, who's a friend of hers and said, this is what I like short and stubby. Why am I offended?
I'm not.
I don't care.
I don't care.
My concern is not what your friend likes. It's what you like. So I don't even care. It was just this thing.
Weird.
It was a witch hunt. Like to me, you know what I mean? Like, and everybody took their chance to get their lashes out on Clint.
I agree.
And that was whack to me.
I thought it was mad whack. And I thought like, oh my goodness. And he's sitting around 5 beautiful curvy women. And if you bitches was fat and he sat up there and was like, I don't watch my 1,000-pound life and I don't like big bitches and I don't care how y'all feel about it. He has every right to feel that way.
He does.
Like, and if you a big bitch, you gotta be like, I wasn't feeling like it doesn't matter to me because my little man likes big bitches.
Right.
So we're good. Like, you know what I mean? For you to sit up here and for them to be so consumed. And I think part of it is like, oh, we got a cape for her. She's being disrespected. Maybe part of it is that. But the other part of it is that y'all are around men y'all don't know. And y'all still got single minds and want to be desirable to people that...
And that is the real issue here.
I hit it?
Yes.
That's the real issue. Because I truly do not care. Like, you know what I mean? And I think about it.
You wouldn't care. If you are locked in with another person... You could give a hell less.
You could care
what somebody else's preference is in the room, and you sit next to your man. Why do you care?
I'd be like, damn girl,
that's for you.
Yeah, that's literally. I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
I'm not. And me and Joe might go home and talk about it. Don't get me wrong, because we like to debrief.
Because we will.
But it's not from a space of like, I was offended because I'm dark skinned. He said he don't like dark skinned girls.
Yeah, like.
What? Y'all are weird. It's giving flamingos outside the house.
Right.
It's giving your swingers. Okay, that's what it's giving. Yeah. High key. So I really didn't like that whole. I didn't like the whole scene. The whole scene was cringy.
The whole scene was cringy.
The whole entire scene.
Because she also voluntarily started her little dialogue with, "Well, our problem is physical chemistry. No, your problem." Clint never
said his problem was physical chemistry.
He never brought it up.
Never said
He never said he was not attracted to you before you broached this subject. He never said he never called you unattractive, never called you a big John, never said any of that.
Exactly.
And then you started out with saying, well, our problem is physical. No, your problem, you have a problem with his physical appearance.
And just say that.
And you try to make it a us issue, and it's not an us issue, it's a you issue, Gina.
And the truth is, he would have rocked out. The truth, and he said that. He said, like, it even bothered me that we brought this up so early because we should just be trying to get to know each other.
We're in Jamaica. Why are we doing this?
And the thing of the matter is that she doesn't have anything else but the look she paid for. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. And
her job.
And her job.
She's going to go back to the job
all she talks about is the salon, y'all. In the beginning package or whatever, they're in the pool. And he trying to get to know her. Like, what's the first thing? She was like, well, what's the first thing you want to do when we get back to Nashville? He like, I'm going to take you out on a boat. Like, I'm going to have a relaxing weekend, whatever the case may be. She like, well... oh, have a relaxing weekend, like after I do payroll or after I do this for the salon. He said, well, yeah, you'll work, you have a business, you can outsource some things, whatever the case may be. You don't have to be the one answering this and doing that. And she's like, well, I have to, I'm just starting this, so I just signed a 7-year lease. Everything went back to the salon. It was the most fascinating thing. Even when she was talking about her grievances with the girls, like, she was like, I'm a salon owner. Like, I own a salon. Like, I deal in beauty. And it's like, girl.
I'm just tired.
I'm not going to lie. I really I do think you should self-promote. I really do think that. Don't get me wrong. But Joe, no, I despise when people do that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just want to vibe. Even with girls, you do not have to sell yourself on me.
No. Especially not at these inopportune places and times. Y'all sitting in a pool in Jamaica, and you go back to your salon. He can't care less about the salon. We talked about this already, and I told y'all this. I told y'all that she was this person, and she's going to keep drilling it to the point where Clint is like, did she come on here to
he
promote her
literally
salon?
said, did she come on here to promote the
Because
salon?
he's like, I'm tired of talking about the salon.
Which rightfully so.
Period.
Rightfully so. And I'm like, I don't understand how she got back there. Like, I genuinely am like, girl,
Because
like,
it's her identity. That's why.
I find Gina to be insufferable. And I think she was dead wrong. And I think if we round it back to the fact that she was dead wrong, she was dead wrong.
Yeah, and
she's salty.
I think that she goes back to this job thing constantly because it's her identity. And it's also this persona that she wants to put on. You know what I mean? And I'm just over this whole y'all is so rich and busy.
Oh!
I don't know.
Oh my God!
I just don't know.
I cannot.
I don't know how everybody is so rich.
We know so many people like this.
But don't have no time because all the rich people I know
got nothing but time.
All the rich people I know
got nothing but time.
Are specifically like leaning into their richness because they feel that their wealth allows them time. This is outside of...
You're literally making money to purchase time.
Literally.
Not to make the money. Like,
Yes.
It's not to purchase things.
Y'all so rich and busy. The two things don't equate.
But why are we even talking about being busy? But this is why you ain't got no man.
That part.
The truth of the matter is, this is why you ain't got no man. Because he literally said, I just want you to get to a space where you can work smarter.
Yep.
Not harder. Like, you don't feel like you got to work. Because obviously you feel like you're working hard because we still talking about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you're working smarter, I don't hear, and I want you to celebrate, your accomplishments, but at the same time, like, who are you? We just met.
Not only that, but this is a bit of a red flag because you make time for things that you want to make time for.
Facts.
You run a hair salon. Obama was busy. You are not that busy. And even he can take time to go to Martha's Vineyard with his wife and kids. You are not that busy, sis. But I can tell because this is a running theme, especially where we used to live in LA.
Oh my
where
God.
it's like you have to have this persona that you so goddamn busy and you got so much going on because it's literally tied to your self-worth. And that's a conversation between you and your therapist, but it's really bad. It's bad. It's not good. Cause y'all in a pool in Jamaica and this man is trying to get to know you. The man you can talk about is this damn salon.
You're a lesbian. All you want to talk about is other bitches' hair.
Weird.
Like, you're with the wrong group. You're shooting for the wrong
weird.
team. You do not want to be a real man.
Yeah.
And you can't think. But that's also a lack of self-awareness. But that's why they made for each other. Because they both got that.
Yeah.
They both got that. And then she was like, well, I was offended about you doing the slender thing. And he was like, well, you didn't find it offensive when you said you didn't find talking about being, ginger, having ginger hair offensive? And she was like, what do you mean? I do ginger hair.
I do hair, so it's not offensive.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. She just wanted to talk about doing hair again.
Again! Some way, somehow, the salon came up again.
You don't even have an exciting job.
We should do a drinking game next time.
Oh, we should. That's the thing now.
Every
time Gina mentions the salon or doing hair, we will have a shot.
We gotta drink. And you guys I think we're gonna shoot this live next, like we're gonna watch the episode and film next week.
Mm-hmm. I'm doing.
Right? I think that's what we're gonna do next week. So y'all gonna see us in real time be drunk on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Or cross our fingers because we gotta work.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, she out here like, I'm just so tired of hearing about the mother salon. Like, girl, but they must have told her on the show she can't say the name.
That's probably it. And she wanna keep.
They told her because.
And you got to think too. They're only showing us tidbits of their conversation, like we talk about, right? So, but you break the wall, and this is hours and hours of conversation. So for Clint to say, I feel like she's here to run a promotion for her salon.
Yes.
That means that she's talking about this far more than what we're seeing on camera.
Yes.
Which has to be nauseating.
Exactly. The men sit down and talk, and we finally find out that Eris is not into Jasmine. And we know he won a big booty bit, and whatever the case may be, which is so funny because Joe and I had this conversation last night, and I said, you can ask a man what he attracted to, and he'll just be like, breasts. It's like, nothing, you don't see nothing else on a woman. Like, oh, she don't have no booty. You could build a booty. You could buy a booty.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
For real.
Things, yeah.
So it's like, I'm like, what's the big deal? And I know we kind of already touched on that, but I just thought that was really fascinating. But even more than that, what I found fascinating was how much advice Clint wanted to give out.
Clint just want to talk, but that's a bit of, white male mediocrity. Like, I feel like he thinks that he's the smartest guy in the room, like most of his people.
Oh my God, he really does.
So he got all the advice, and he interjecting his thoughts and opinions on everybody's relationship and
Mind
all
you,
that
he's
stuff.
40 years old and got married at first
And
sight.
his relationship is terrible.
Terrible.
So it's not surprising to me though.
But what about Max saying Gina is sexy as hell?
That's too much. This is more of people being in a group and wishing they was with somebody else. I think Gina's hot, like so hot. I felt like he almost wanted to say, I wish I was with her.
I think
I could tell it was on the tip of his tongue. Like, and if I was Clint, I'd have been like, so like, what's up? Like, what you want to be with her?
But did you see Eris? Like,
it was awkward.
Eris' eyes ain't been that big ever.
At all.
I didn't even know who the hell it was.
No, seriously.
For real. Like, he was like, what the hell is going on?
It gets weird because that's the
here?
other problem with not pairing these couples properly because they get in a room and they looking at somebody else like.
But also, y'all, and I mean this with all due respect, I know the cool thing is that, nobody wants to get married anymore. We don't need men. We don't need women. Right. I get it. I get that all that's cool. But if you are in the business where you want to find your spouse and a partner, don't be having conversations with single people.
Right.
I think it's okay. Like, I think, people say, like, don't share none of your marriage with nobody. The truth is, we all sharing something with somebody.
Right. But
if you are going to share, don't share it with nobody single. You know what I mean? Like I have never had a conversation with this, and I mean this with all due respect, with anybody single and felt, that was good advice.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, or anybody happy. Like, you got to be with like a couple who has perspective. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we argue. Yeah, we may have a moment, but we together and we love each other and we ain't going to goddamn where. Yeah. You have conversations with those people. These people don't even know how to be married.
At all.
They don't even know they're not single right now.
Right. You got to talk to people who got stomachs. Because y'all be having these friends be telling you, well, just leave him. And you like,
I had somebody really tell me that. Seat up. I said, girl, it was just an argument. Like, you're getting on my nerves.
Yeah,
but
like that. That's the world we live in now. Because a lot of single people live in the Instagram world, live in the, you know what I mean? The instant gratification. I could just open my app and find somebody else. And y'all find all these people
conflict resolution skills.
Ain't doing nothing for y'all. This whole way of thinking of like, I can throw a dart and hit somebody because I have more access to single individuals. Yeah. It's really gotten nobody anywhere.
I mean, look at y'all. Look at you.
Anyway, I hear these, I be feeling bad that it's nothing up to Tulum. It's really nothing out there. We had a friend of ours say on Twitter the other day, she said she went on a date with somebody and she gets to the date and the guy proceeds to tell her that he is just getting out of a marriage, but the wife is still at home.
Who said that?
We could talk about this off. Yeah, but and I'm like, this is what's Tulum. This is what's out there. But y'all, you let y'all tell it. I could just hop on the app.
But you let y'all tell it. He better be 6'7".
Right.
Right. As if everybody don't want him who's 6'7".
He going home to his wife
and girlfriend.
Okay,
like, are you kidding me? And then calling the mistress at night. Like, I just feel like I just feel like we just got to be more not even more protective. I think marriage, like having a baby, takes a village. Mm-hmm. You got to have people around you who support you, who want to see you be successful. You individually, you as a conglomerate, and then you as like the ultimate family that you'll have. You really want to be around successful people. Yeah. People who want to see you successful. And most people who want to see you successful are people who are in it.
Right.
I love married people. I love being around married people. And even our friend, same friend, said he don't know anybody that's happily married.
Because that,
and that's sad.
And that is sad, and that affects your outlook on it. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to, they say if you want to be a millionaire, you should surround yourself with millionaires, right? So it's the same way of like, if that's what you're aspiring to, you can't be going to the club every weekend with a bunch of single people. Because that's not gonna. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's not gonna get you there.
That's not.
And
you're not gonna meet a man.
The more negativity you see in this space, the less the less optimism you have that you can achieve this thing, right?
Oh, so true.
So it's just like we said, in any aspect of life. If you want to be a successful real estate agent, and all you see is failed real estate agents, right, you think this is a piss poor business. Meanwhile, people are.
And you also, if you want to be a successful real estate agent, you're not hanging out in the projects.
That part. You're not getting advice from people who don't sell houses.
Literally.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so it just all got to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Because
it's got to be a whole mental mindset shift.
Yeah.
Because I think I don't think I want to. You know, I'm trying to recognize our privilege. I don't want to say it's easy to find a person, right?
No.
I think partnership takes work.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that you guys should be more open to conflict resolution, because I would argue that a lot more people are not together just because they don't know how to solve a problem.
I think that's true. I think that's, yeah, I would love to see the statistics on that.
A lot of people, because I know so many people who probably like, knowing what I know now, I probably would have stayed married.
Yep. And we've heard that. We've heard that from people.
You know what I mean? And
because it's Tulum. It's not. It's nothing. Our word for nothing out there is Tulum. Like, with all respect.
Is that what y'all doing?
It's nothing. Like, it's really. It's like y'all really need to value the relationship. You know what I mean? Value the relationship and putting the work in, and giving it the effort that it deserves. Again, if you give it all and it don't work, life happens. We get it. But a lot of the stuff just be like this shallow stuff that we see where Dom is like, he just jokes too much.
Y'all like childish.
You're gonna leave this man because he jokes too
funny?
much. Because he's funny. And then you're gonna get out there.
Y'all are childish. It's stressful. So we'll see what's happening next week. I actually really did enjoy this episode, all in all.
Mm-hmm.
Keisha Knight Pillion, we got beef. Love you to
gotta
death,
do better,
Ruby.
sis.
But you gotta do better.
You have to.
And I think, and I want to be really clear about, like, you know, not that Black people gotta make space for others. I don't necessarily feel that way, but I do believe that in order for people to understand how microaggressions can affect us, we have to be empathetic in times where they are affected.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because then when we say silly things like, oh, if I say my hair is nappy and you doing my hair, white woman, and you say my hair is nappy, that's a microaggression for me. You know what I mean? Like, that's a problem for me. That might be my truth, but it ain't your truth to tell me.
Right.
And it's like, and I think that, you know, I think we have to have room for that. And I just it was really her surprise. What do you mean? It really it was like, I've had this conversation before with somebody who looked like this, and it went just like that. It went just like that, like word for word. Well, I didn't know that was an issue. You don't have to know.
Yeah.
It's not about you.
I'm telling you.
And high key, he should have said, but if I called you a big back black, bitch, am I wrong? Like, do you feel microaggressed upon them? I'm just saying you look big and black.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Is that wrong?
And I never knew that was offensive.
And I didn't know that was offensive. I thought I was just calling out your characteristics because you're big and you're black. You know what I mean?
No, but
if he said that, would he have been wrong?
That's what I'm saying. I think my biggest issue with it too was Keisha doesn't really hold people's feet to the fire, especially when it's women. She does not do that at all. And I think that's the one thing, Zar makes her dislike for Kevin Frazier very plain. But the one thing I do like about him is he keeps the same energy with everybody.
Everybody.
You know what I'm saying? And Keisha, and I like Keisha, but she does not do that. Especially if the person is in the room.
Oh,
she's very light on anybody of the same sex as her, and especially if a person is in the room, you could almost feel
that she will look for a common ground to stand on with that person, even though you could kind of tell that she don't really agree with them.
Yeah, she's like, understood.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, what?
No, I don't understand. It sounds stupid to me.
Like, what do you mean? You're going to
Sounds
cape for this
stupid.
Gina person just because, one, she's not here,
And she do nappy hair?
and she do hair. Because, again, vice versa, Keisha, if the roles were reversed and you saw Gina, you saw a man do what to Clint what Gina did to him when they were standing.
Oh, it wouldn't.
Well, Keisha would be lighting him up. Like, keep the same. That's all I asked of you, Keisha. Keep the same energy. I don't need you to play.
Preference.
You found an excuse for her. That's what I didn't like. You found an excuse for her.
You found
where again, Clinton gave her 2 passes and then responded in kind. And you wanted to literally like crucify this man on air because
he got red. Did y'all see?
He did. It was awkward. It was very awkward. And I just don't like. Keep the same energy. That's it. That's all I want you to do.
Same energy. But I kind of like how Eris wasn't giving him that work. He was just like,
yeah.
I mean, I think the only issue was that he said it in public. But the truth of the matter is like they had that conversation before, and Clint trying to understand. Why are you mad now? We already had this conversation.
Why you keep bringing it up? She brought it up again. That's why I'm not giving her. You brought it up again.
So we ain't gonna be them. We ain't bringing it up again.
Yeah.
We might next week, but right now we don't.
Well, because she gonna bring it up next week. So.
Oh, it's gonna be the only reason I can't be with him because he just hates women. And,
yeah.
You know.
But you know that Karen stuff.
But I do like this is the kind of people I like. This is why I like Clint. He said, "Oh, because you don't like doing red hair? Because now I'm about to ruin business." That's who I am. That's who I am. I like that kind of energy. Okay, like I love that energy. He was like, "Oh, because you don't like red hair, so you don't like doing red."
Right, I didn't.
You talking about the salon? Talking about gingers? Imagine you say that and you do hair.
I just don't want to talk about her doing hair no more. I'm over it.
Imagine you say that and you do hair. I just don't like gingers. And if y'all don't understand how that's a microaggression, you need to read.
Yes.
You just need to read. Like, I don't even want to be debating with y'all in the comments. We're not doing it. We're just not. I'm telling you that. But we love you guys, and we do want you guys to engage again in the comments and tell us how you felt about this episode. I'm about to make my husband some turkey legs. If you have not already, do us a favor. Bust down. Subscribe to the channel. Don't cost you a mother thing. And I guess we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Peace.